What would you do if your child came running to you pointing at a street boy and whispering, "Mom, that kid looks exactly like me"? That's exactly what happened to Evelyn Carter, a successful CEO and mother of one. At least that's what she believed. Until the day her son Jackson brought home a boy with the same face, same birthmark, and a past that unraveled a secret so dark it had been buried for over a decade. A secret that could destroy their entire family or finally set it free. What if everything you believed about your child's birth was a lie? Stay with us until the end, because the truth in this story will hit harder than you can imagine, and the twist will leave you speechless. Ready? Let's begin. The autumn wind swept through the streets of Portland, Oregon, carrying with it a chill that hinted at the winter ahead. Outside the grand entrance of the Carter estate, a luxury mansion tucked in the hills, 10-year-old Jackson Carter stepped outside for a breath of air. Inside, the celebration for his father's birthday was in full swing: live music, a towering cake, and guests dressed to impress. But Jackson felt suffocated. He adjusted the collar of his tailored blazer and wandered down the long driveway, away from the chatter and camera flashes. That's when he saw him. A boy his age, his height, stood across the street near the alley, rummaging through a trash bin. Jackson blinked. His mind reeled. It was like staring into a mirror, only cracked and dirty. The boy had the same sharp cheekbones, the same bright blue eyes, even the same golden hair, but it was tangled, matted with grime. His clothes were torn, his sneakers mismatched and duct-taped, and his hands were scratched and red from cold and hard pavement. Jackson's heart pounded. He stepped closer, crossing the street. The boy froze like a deer caught in headlights. "Hey," Jackson said softly. "Don't run. I'm not here to hurt you." The boy took a half step back, his eyes darting for an escape. But something about Jackson's calm voice, his sincerity, made him pause. "What's your name?" Jackson asked. The boy hesitated, lips trembling. "Noah," he muttered. "Noah Price." Jackson smiled gently. "I'm Jackson. Nice to meet you." Noah looked confused, suspicious, but he didn't move. "You look exactly like me," Jackson added, voice barely above a whisper. "Like we could be twins." Noah's eyes narrowed. "I don't have a twin." "Neither do I," Jackson said, still stunned. "At least I didn't think I did." A few seconds of silence passed between them, the kind that stretches like a wire pulled too tight. Then a voice broke the moment. "Jackson? Where are you, Jackson?" His mother. Jackson turned his head just for a second, and in that instant, Noah bolted. "No, wait," Jackson called, chasing after him. But the street kid was quick and knew how to vanish. He slipped between buildings and was gone, leaving only the echo of his footsteps. Seconds later, Olivia Carter came rushing out of the estate's iron gate, her heels clicking sharply on the pavement. Her face was flushed with panic. "Jackson, don't scare me like that, sweetheart. You know you're not supposed to leave the gate without telling someone." "I'm sorry," he muttered. "I just needed some air." She brushed his hair back gently. "Come on, your dad's waiting to cut the cake." As they walked back, Jackson turned one last time to look at the alley. Noah was gone. But the image of that boy, the mirror image, burned into his mind. That night after the party, Jackson lay awake in his enormous room, filled with all the latest gadgets and games. He stared at the ceiling, his mind racing. How could someone look exactly like him? Why did the sight of Noah make something in his chest ache, like a memory he couldn't reach? Meanwhile, across the city, Noah curled up in an alley behind an old bakery, his stomach aching with hunger. He clutched a threadbare hoodie around him, trying to stay warm. But sleep wouldn't come. Not tonight, because he too was haunted by a boy who looked just like him, only clean, warm, cared for. How is that even possible? Noah whispered to himself. The next morning, Olivia Carter tossed and turned in bed, her dreams plagued by foggy memories and hospital lights. She woke with a start, a name on her lips that she hadn't spoken in years. Noah? She shook it off and went downstairs to prepare for a full day of meetings. But as she poured her coffee, the name kept echoing. Something deep inside her, something maternal, was stirring. A distant memory, a gut feeling. Something she'd never been able to explain, let alone voice to her husband. Jackson ate his breakfast in silence, pushing his eggs around on his plate. "Everything okay, sweetheart?" Olivia asked gently. Yeah, just thinking. She kissed the top of his head and didn't press. But Jackson's mind was far away. He had one thought, one mission: find Noah. And if he had to break a few rules to do it, so be it. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the interruption, but we hope you will help us improve our content in the future. What would you do if you found someone on the street who looked exactly like you? Do you believe in intuition, that deep feeling something is missing even when no one else sees it? If this part moved you, comment Twin Truth below and let us know which country you're watching from. Jackson Carter couldn't concentrate on anything that Monday morning. Not school, not the quiz in math, not even the pizza served at lunch. All he could think about was the boy in the alley, the boy named Noah, the boy who looked exactly like him. During recess, Jackson pulled his best friend Lily Harper aside behind the gym. "You're not going to believe this," he whispered. Lily raised an eyebrow. "Try me. There's this kid. I met him yesterday. He looks exactly like me. I mean exactly. Like a clone." Lily blinked. "You mean like a doppelganger?" "No," Jackson said, shaking his head. "Not just similar. I'm talking same eyes, same hair, even the same freckle under the left eye. We could switch places and no one would know." "Whoa," Lily said, stunned. "That's insane. I think he might be my twin." Lily stared. "But you don't have a twin." "Not officially," Jackson replied, "but what if there's something my parents never told me?" Lily bit her lip, already putting pieces together. "Did you ask your mom?" Jackson shook his head. "Not yet. I want proof first." "Real proof." Lily's eyes narrowed in thought. "Then we find him." Across the city, Noah Price sat on the edge of a dumpster behind a convenience store, chewing on a half-eaten granola bar he found in the trash. His stomach still ached from hunger, but his heart ached more. He couldn't stop thinking about Jackson, his clean face, his calm voice, his strange kindness. That night he returned to the alley near the Carter estate, hoping to catch a glimpse of the boy again. But the neighborhood was quiet. The mansion was lit like a hotel lobby, but Noah knew better than to get too close. He sat on the curb staring up at the windows. "Why does he look like me?" Then he heard footsteps, a soft voice. "Noah." He turned quickly. It was Jackson, this time with Lily at his side. "You came back," Noah said, stunned. "I had to," Jackson said. "I had questions." Lily stepped closer, studying Noah like he was a puzzle come to life. "You're real," she whispered. Noah nodded slowly, unsure of what to make of the girl. "Who is she?" "She's my friend. You can trust her." "I don't trust people easily," Noah said flatly. "Not when you've lived the life I have." There was a pause. Then Jackson asked, "Do you have any idea who your parents are?" Noah's expression tightened. "No. I was told I was left in a trash bin as a baby. An old man who used to sleep under the bridge found me and took care of me for a few years, until he died. Since then, it's just been me." Lily covered her mouth, eyes filled with emotion. Jackson sat down beside Noah, heart pounding. I think we need to talk to my mom," Jackson said. "She'll know something." Noah stiffened. "No way. Adults take one look at me and either call the cops or pretend I don't exist." "No thanks. I promise," Jackson said. "She's not like that." But even as he said it, a small seed of doubt crept in. His mom had always seemed kind, but had she been hiding something? Just then, Lily stepped forward and said, "Do you have anything with you? Something from when you were a baby?" Noah reached into the pocket of his hoodie and pulled out a torn piece of fabric, a part of a baby blanket, faded blue with a gold-embroidered letter. Judea Jackson's breath caught. He rushed into the house and returned minutes later with a matching square torn from the same blanket. It had the letter N. The three of them stared at the two pieces side by side. Noah and Jackson. Lily whispered. J and N. Jackson turned slowly toward the house, his hands shaking. "We have to tell her." But before he could move, the front door of the mansion opened. A tall figure stepped out. It was Aiden Carter, Jackson's father. "What's going on here?" he asked sharply, walking down the steps. Noah's eyes went wide. He turned to run. "Wait," Jackson shouted. "He's with me. He's not doing anything wrong." But it was too late. Noah was already halfway down the block. Aiden grabbed Jackson by the shoulder. "You have no idea who that kid is. Don't you ever bring strangers to our house?" "He's not a stranger," Jackson yelled. He's He's my brother. Aiden froze. What did you say? I said he's my brother. And you know it. Aiden's jaw clenched. Get inside. Now. Jackson stared at him, tears brimming. You lied to me. But Aiden didn't respond. He simply turned and walked back into the house. Jackson stood on the sidewalk, Lily at his side. Noah was gone. But now Jackson knew one thing for certain. The truth was real. And someone, maybe everyone, had been hiding it from him. The house was quiet, too quiet for a home filled with secrets. Jackson sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the faded baby blanket piece in his hand, his half of a story that had been hidden for 12 years. Downstairs, his mother, Evelyn Carter, returned from her business trip to find the mansion steeped in tension. She dropped her bag in the foyer and immediately sensed something was wrong. Where's Jackson? She asked the housekeeper. In his room, ma'am. But he's upset. Evelyn climbed the stairs' heels, echoing on the hardwood, and gently pushed open her son's door. He didn't look up. Honey, she said softly. I know, he whispered. Evelyn paused. Know what? He looked up, eyes burning. I met someone. A boy. His name is Noah. He looks exactly like me. Evelyn froze. He had a torn baby blanket with the letter J. I have one too. Remember, yours has N. The room fell silent. Then Evelyn's legs buckled slightly and she sat beside her son. I always knew this day would come, she whispered. You knew, Jackson said, voice rising. You knew I had a brother out there alone, living on the streets. I didn't know where he was, she said, voice trembling. But I felt it. For years. I tried to bury it. Your father. He told me I imagined it. He said the doctors were wrong, that there was only you. But I knew I was carrying two babies. I felt you both. Jackson's throat tightened. Then why didn't you look for him? I tried. She said, tears now spilling. I asked questions. I begged for old records. But Aiden always intervened. Said I was losing my mind, that I needed therapy. And after a while, I started to doubt myself. Jackson stood. He sold Noah, didn't he? Evelyn's face crumpled. I don't know how, but I believe it now. And I won't stop until I find out the truth. Meanwhile, across the city, Noah sat on a bench outside an old soup kitchen. He clutched the food Epaminondas had given him, but he hadn't touched it. Not because he wasn't hungry, but because he was afraid to believe. Afraid that what he felt with Jackson might not last. A black car pulled up beside the curb. He froze. But instead of a stranger, it was Evelyn who stepped out. In her designer coat and heels, she didn't look like the kind of person who stopped on this side of town. But her eyes weren't cold. They were full of tears. Noah, she said softly. He stood slowly, wary. I'm Evelyn Carter, she said, her voice shaking. I'm Jackson's mom. I know who you are, he whispered. She stepped closer. I believe you're my son. The words fell like a stone in a quiet lake. Noah's lip trembled. How? How do you know? She pulled out a folded document from her coat pocket. We took a DNA test. Jackson had it rushed yesterday. The results came this morning. Noah's knees gave way. He sat back on the bench, stunned. You're my mom. She nodded, sobbing now. And I'm so sorry I wasn't there for you. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. He wiped his face with the back of his sleeve. I didn't think I'd ever have a family. You do, she said, kneeling beside him. You always did. Noah looked into her eyes, then slowly, carefully reached out and hugged her. For the first time in 12 years, someone held him like he mattered. Later that evening, back at the Carter mansion, Noah stepped inside the grand foyer, hand in hand with Evelyn. Jackson waited at the top of the stairs and rushed down the moment he saw them. They collided in a hug so tight it knocked the wind out of both of them. I told you we'd figure it out, Jackson whispered. Noah smiled. You did. They sat on the floor together side by side as Evelyn watched them with pride and heartbreak. She couldn't get back the years lost, but she would never let them be separated again. A week later, Aiden Carter was arrested following a full investigation. His offshore accounts, hidden assets, and records of illegal transactions, including the sale of a newborn, were exposed. It turned out he'd faked medical documents, paid off a corrupt doctor, and arranged for Noah to be sold to a wealthy but infertile couple, who then abandoned him when they were caught in a financial scandal. Justice was served. Evelyn divorced him, took full custody of both boys, and resigned from her CEO position to focus on rebuilding her family. And Noah. He started school again, slept in a warm bed, woke up to breakfast every morning. He shared a room with Jackson at first, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. One day as they sat watching old home videos, Noah turned to Jackson and said, "Do you think we'd be this close if none of this had happened?" Jackson shrugged. "I don't know, but I do know I wouldn't want a different brother." They fist-bumped, laughed, and leaned back on the couch. They were whole now, not because life had been perfect, but because the truth had finally come home. What would you do if you discovered you had a twin who'd been abandoned? Would you forgive? Would you fight for the truth, or both? Comment 100 below if this story moved you. Tell us what part hit you the hardest and from which country you're watching. And don't forget to share this video so others can experience the power of truth and family.